Our low budget mage deck only costs 1520 Arcane Dust to make. That does not include the common cards, and it's a perfect deck for getting you through to at least rank 10. Look, this deck is extremely aggressive and you should have no problem putting any opponent under immense pressure in the early to mid game, while powerful finishes will help you win games even if the board gets out of control later on. Your starting hand will define your early game, and you should always attempt to mulligan away any mid to late game cards. The early game is extremely important when playing an aggressive mage, and your choices during this stage of the match will have a major impact on your late game. Your minions should put as much pressure on your opponent as possible, and you should engage in minion trading only if you are given the opportunity to create card advantage. You should not attempt to save your spells for later stages of the match, but rather use them as minion removal to clear the path for your minions. Once you pass the early to mid game, you should consider saving your damage spells so you can use them to finish your opponent off. Alright, reasonable starting hand. Would have liked a 1-drop, but I'm pretty sure we'll draw into one fairly soon. Oh, there we go. So we'll lead out with that, and look, the general strategy here is going to be the same as most games. We're just going to smash face as quickly and as often as we can using our minions. Sometimes use spells to clear the way, trying to get into a position where we can just finish him off with some spells. It's nice to see a fireball coming up. And this is the type of start I like. We'll get off to some early damage.
Reporting for duty.
Beautiful. Now remember, we're going to do as much damage to him as possible in the shortest amount of time. So what I really need to be careful of is a potential Consecrate coming up around turn 5. So I think next turn I'll lead out with... it depends what he does. Okay, so we'll get rid of that and follow up with a Fireball to the face. So we should be able to do 9 points. And that's where we want him. So he really needs to start spamming creatures onto the board. Or somehow getting rid of mine. Now again, these matches at the lower ranks are quite easy. But what should be noted about this mage deck is there are no legendaries. This is very much a low budget aggro deck. Okay, so he needs to come down with a Consecrate or something similar, otherwise he's dead. And this is what I like to do, force my opponent into a situation where they have to play the way that I want them to play. Okay, that's quite a good response from him. So I could use a Flame Strike, but I'm not going to. I mean, I haven't got enough mana either, but I really want my opponent to put out as many creatures as possible so I can capitalise with that Flame Strike. And that's usually the way I play.
I wonder.
So that move was designed just to put as much pressure on my opponent as possible. I am a big fan of card draw, don't get me wrong, but 2 3/2s on the table, he really needs to deal with at least one of them.
They'll never know what hit them.
Okay, that was a bit unusual. I would have thought he'd use his Divine Shielded creature to kill mine. So let's roll the dice here. Okay, so we got rid of the Divine Shield, which is what we wanted. Now remember I said I've got to tempt my opponent to play more creatures. So I'm quite happy just to sit back here. Come down with maybe Frost Nova. And that will tempt my opponent to put out more creatures, so I capitalise on my Flame Strike.
Handle it! Reporting for duty.
And there you see, Flame Strike's the obvious follow-up here.
Hey, give me that!
So he needs a decent taunt creature.
Give me a quest. My shield for Argus.
Okay, not bad.
Reporting for duty.
I hope you like my invention. Someday I'll be just like you!
Let's draw another card.
Hey, give me that!
And that's game. With the Leponome, that's game all the way.
Job's done.
And you see how we forced our opponent to overextend into the Flame Strike and then follow up with a horde of minions and a little bit of removal. I don't think there's anything he can do.
Shield for Argus.
No, not even that helps him. So as I said, the low budget Aggro Mage deck is very easy to pilot into the higher ranks. These lower rank games are very, very easy.